The forbidden city of the Chinese people doesn't allow foreigners to enter. Recently, an incident has sparked a heated discussion on the foreign internet. A foreign woman posted on Instagram, saying that she was stopped by the staff when she visited the forbidden city in China and accusing the forbidden city of discrimination. Her words were full of displeasure. This matter quickly spread on social media. The poster thought that the foreign onlookers would all be on her side. But the reality slapped her hard. Netizens from various countries not only didn't back her up, but instead accused her of not respecting Chinese culture. So, what on earth is going on? Then, why did the forbidden city stop these tourists from entering this time? There were 4 foreigners visiting the forbidden city this time. They are the world-class fashion design master Rico Owens and his wife, as well as the models of their brand in 1994. Rico Owens and his wife jointly founded the brand Fecal Matter, which is translated as excrement in Chinese. The style of the clothes mainly features novelty-seeking, being horrifying and frightening. The daily attire of the two also has a dark style. This time, when they came to the forbidden city, their clothes were still avant-garde and exaggerated. But what's more exaggerated were their companions. Bald heads, without eyebrows, faces as pale as paper, and eyeshadows and lipsticks with great visual impact are these international friends. They are more like extraterrestrial visitors. It's not hard to understand why they were not allowed to enter the forbidden city with such appearances. Freedom is fine, but it can't be too terrifying. This is simply frightening. It's said that many children were scared to cry, and it has already caused harm to society. In fact, there is nothing wrong with the forbidden city. It's just that they have gone too far. Moreover, the forbidden city has long had a regulation that those with disheveled appearance are prohibited from visiting. However, these 2 artists didn't take it seriously. The security guards asked Fecal Matter and her male companion to change clothes before visiting the forbidden city, but they refused. In the end, only Rico Owens and his wife were able to enter. From this, it can also be seen that the security guards were not targeting anyone, but just handling the matter according to the rules. After that, Fecal Matter, who returned disappointed, didn't want to let the matter rest. So they publicized the process and photos of the incident on their Instagram account. We were really nervous at the moment when we were driven out of the forbidden city. They asked us to remove our makeup and change into ordinary clothes before we could enter. Of course, we refused because for us, this is not just an appearance. It's our identity. We understand and accept that we can't reach the whole world. This is the price we pay for being ourselves without sacrificing our values. But when the security guards escort you and make you feel like a criminal, it's an act of humiliation and inhumane. And you haven't done anything wrong. What we have gained from this experience is more determination to continue what we are doing and to fight for more acceptance and tolerance of differences in the whole world. Provoke and break boundaries, and fight against those who try to restrict people and deprive them of free expression. It was this statement that pushed the whole incident to a climax. What kind of place is the forbidden city? It is one of the most representative ancient Chinese architectures. Even though it is no longer in use today, it is a cultural symbol of China. Let's take a look at the usual style of these great designers. It's said that their daily sources of inspiration are aliens and the hybrid life forms of aliens and humans. Their aesthetic sense is, well, rather unique. Usually, they also love to respond to external controversies with unique and exaggerated costumes, but these costumes in the forbidden city, I won't mention other things. I guess the tourists visiting the forbidden city at the same time would be very frightened when they see them. After the tweet was sent out, netizens hit the nail on the head. You care about your own cultural identity and criticize everything under the guise of freedom of dress. In the final analysis, it is also a subjective act dominated by your own values. When you refuse to understand others, Why should you expect others to understand you? The premise of so-called free expression is that it doesn't affect and disgust others. Once you affect others, it's not freedom, but willfulness. Moreover, it's not only the Forbidden City in China that has set some rules. Many famous scenic spots around the world have strict regulations. For example, in the Vatican museums, tourists are required to be fully dressed in summer and are not allowed to wear shorts and sleeveless tops. When visiting Buddhist sacred sites in Thailand, tourists must not only wear clothes and trousers that cover the knees, but also take off their shoes and enter barefoot. In Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, some mosques don't allow guests with overly revealing and exaggerated clothing to enter. These are all perfectly normal requirements. You can choose not to go, but if you go, you must abide by the requirements of the place. If you don't abide by the requirements and forcefully impose your own aesthetics on others, what kind of freedom is this? It's just an excuse for double standards. Don't you think so? This is spiritual violence. Although Fecal Matter has deleted all the posts, what can't be ignored is that in recent years, many international people have caused disharmonious phenomena during their visits to China. For example, in July last year, an American man continuously kicked down the Mani piles where Tibetan people pray at the foot of Mount Everest. Mani piles are called duo bang in Tibetan, which means a pile of stones, and are used by Tibetan people to pray. Don't ask me how I know. Because my former job was a journalist, and I'm good at browsing news from various countries and understanding and studying the values of various countries. If you don't check the local customs and habits well when traveling, it's not unforgivable. But this American tourist not only continuously kicked down the Mani piles, but also deliberately took a video and posted it on his social platform. This is probably not curiosity or ignorance of customs, but blatant provocation. The American man was also taken away by local police for investigation, as he wished there was also an incident at the end of August this year. Under a solemn ancient building in Pingyao, Shaanxi Province, China, an American was wearing a t-shirt with the pattern of the Japanese rising sun flag. Beside the pattern, there were several glaring words: Imperial Navy. Do you know what the rising sun flag represents? Anyone with a little historical knowledge and who respects the culture of other countries wouldn't do this. When a Chinese young man explained the meaning of the symbol on the American tourist's t-shirt and hoped that he could change clothes, he impatiently waved his hand and said, "I know. All I can say is that he should be thankful that China is a country that prohibits guns." People who have been to China know that China is very clean. There are no rubbish all over the streets, no drug addicts, and no shootings. China has always advocated and practiced openness and tolerance. But some people are extremely out of line. Things like challenging the cultural bottom line of others mentioned above are still relatively minor. Some people directly challenged Chinese laws previously in Yiwu, Zhejiang Province. An American white man was arrested by Chinese police for drunk driving. The Chinese police were going to punish him according to relevant regulations. As a result, this man was very tough. He said that he was a foreigner and came to China to do business and demanded that the police send him to the embassy in Shanghai immediately. The result can be imagined. The police directly told him, "You are in China, and you must abide by Chinese laws. Can you break the law just because you are doing business? If you break the law, you must cooperate with law enforcement." If it were in the United States, I guess the police would have emptied their magazines on him long ago. Don't you think so? This kind of incident is not rare then. Miraculously, these people act recklessly when they are in China. But after they are scolded or punished for their outrageous behaviors, they immediately all say in unison that the Chinese discriminate against foreigners and that the Chinese are xenophobic. Throwing dirty water at China again. This act of having it both ways is really slick. It's the same as the BBC and the Voice of America. Respect has always been mutual. If you don't respect others, why should others respect you? I have read relevant media reports. When Syria was unable to participate in the Asian Games due to difficulties, China specially opened a national airline special route for them and sent fighter jets to escort them. The route passed through Jordan, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Pakistan, and finally entered China's airspace from Xinjiang. This new route avoided all countries that are unfriendly to Syria without any stop. After 11 hours and 13 minutes, they finally arrived in Hangzhou when the Syrian president walked out of the cabin wearing worn-out old leather shoes. He could never have imagined that there was actually a country in the world that did not ignore Syria just because it is a small war-torn country. All the VIP courtesies were there. The honor guard, the welcoming team, and the red flag motorcade were all waiting for his arrival. It was just like normal diplomatic etiquette between countries. There was no discrimination at all. China's way of treating guests is always like this, regardless of national strength and economy. It always welcomes every friend from afar with an open and inclusive mind. Unlike the United States, you have to be its vassal, or else it will attack you, slander you, and show no respect. The well-known blogger Poison Horn Show has always appeared on camera wearing a rainbow-colored unicorn hood. During the Qatar World Cup, he was walking on the streets of Qatar with the hood as usual, but was stopped by the locals. It turned out that the local area does not allow rainbow-colored hair on the hood. After learning of this custom, Poison Horn Show did not hesitate to cut off the rainbow-colored hair that had been his signature. For many years he also explained that he didn't know before and had no intention of offending. He said, "This is your country, and I respect your culture." Moreover, Poison Horn Show also specifically uploaded a video to let more people in the world know that rainbow patterns are not allowed in Qatar and the reasons behind it, calling on everyone to respect Qatari culture. This is the real respect for other countries and their cultures. The Chinese people are like this. As long as you don't overstep the bounds, China will surely welcome you and is willing to help you solve all difficulties. But if you don't respect Chinese culture after arriving in China, or even try to challenge China's bottom line and test Chinese laws, no country in the world will tolerate it.